New cards, PogChamp. New cards, PogChamp. First and foremost, I want to say we did it! We upload a video saying, here's what you should do for the new anime. 2 weeks later, we're making the new anime. I'm not trying to say that Mr. Konami is subscribed to my channel, but if it's good enough for Mr. Konami, why aren't you all subscribed? This is going up on the Clips channel, so I can just make the impassioned plea here. What's your problem? There's a significant amount of people that just show up to every MBT Clips video, watch it all the way through, and they go, great video. I'm not subscribing, though. I don't want him in my box. Come on. Who are you fooling? All right. So we have a little bit in terms of storyboards for the little cut-ins during the animation chronicle for these two. We now know that in April of 2025, they're going to start releasing, I think, weekly short animations. They said under 10 minutes. I don't know how long that is. Following an anime-style storyline about two different narratives, the Sky Striker lore and the Branded lore. And the Branded lore, I don't know how they're going to shove in because there's a lot of it. The Sky Striker lore is already spelled out in the OCG Stories manga. Is that the one? One of them, where she's like, in the Matrix. I would say personally, this is the one I'm interested in, the Branded lore. I could give a fuck if the Evangelion ripoff is interesting or not. I don't even feel good calling it an Evangelion ripoff. It's just, 14-year-old schoolgirl pilots a mecha. That's where the similarities end. Unless, what's her name? Ray is going to have a realistic panic attack on stream. I don't feel comfortable calling it Ava in any other way that matters. Next up. Steal their name with Heraldic Beasts Alan. That's right, folks. It's been so long since we did New Cards PogChamp. We haven't done the Heraldic Beasts. Okay, a whole new meaning to known unknowns and unknown unknowns. All right, did Dan write this one? Satchmo. Listen, do you guys know what this is a reference to? Known unknowns and unknown unknowns? Give you a couple seconds here. It's a reference to the Congress hearings about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Is it? I think it was Rumsfeld. It may have been Powell. Was like, here's the deal. There are known knowns, where weapons are located, etc. There are known unknowns. We don't know where the WMDs are. And then there are unknown unknowns, which is even crazier shit that we can't even fathom because we haven't found it. And that was the justification for killing 1 million people. Now it's being used as the lead-in to Heraldic Beast. I'm sorry, I'm being that one friend that's too woke. Satchmo, if you're watching, I don't dislike that you put this here. I think it's just funny that people still remember it. Okay, here's what we go. Heraldic Beast Griffin. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. You can send one Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to the graveyard, except Griffin, special this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except to Xyz summon only monsters with Heraldic Beast or number in their original names as material. This card can be treated as 2 materials for the Xyz summon of a number Xyz monster that requires 3 or more materials. Circular. It's better circular. It's better circular. However, importantly, the lock into Heraldic is probably the death sentence for this card. I should give you a little bit of insight. These cards are already being tinkered with in Ryziel in the OCG, and this card kind of fucks up its ability to do that. So, Heraldic Beast Stat Whale. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can discard a card, add 2 Heraldry spells traps from your deck to your hand. That's crazy. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 2 Heraldic Beast monsters with the same name in your graveyard, special summon them in defense position, and you are locked for the rest of the turn. Okay, so I did not realize that Heraldry, the literal translation, was God Medallion. That's cool. God Medallion, God Shatter. This is a 4-mat 4-rank. You can only Xyz summon this card using one monster you control whose original name is number 69 Heraldry Crest as material. Okay, never mind. When a monster effect is activated on your opponent's field, or an opponent's monster declares an attack, Special summon a Heraldry Crest Dark Matter Demolition from your extra deck by using this card you control, then destroy that opponent's monster. This is cool. This is strong. If I'm reading this correctly, makes any rank 4, because 69 Heraldry Crest is generic, I think. It theoretically makes any rank 4 like a pop. A one-of Detonator. Then we have Dark Matter Demolition. This is the card that I think people are excited about. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Once per turn, you can detach a material from this card, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Its name is treated as unknown. What is that? It's the unknown. When a monster effect activated by your opponent resolves, if that monster's name is unknown, negate that activated effect. So this is what happens in the anime. It steals the genetic information of the opponent's number monster, leaving it as a husk of its former self. And then this is like sort of targeted negation, but the negation actually occurs at point of resolution, which is super sick. I like this card a great deal. However, 5 level 4 monsters. Now that may not matter as much as you think because of some cards we're about to look at. Medallion Flash says you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Target any number of face-up monsters your opponent controls. Their names are treated as the unknown. During your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you control a Psychic Xyz monster, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So this is the original effect of Genom Heritage. But they didn't print that because it's insane. It's very strange. So what do we think about these cards? Hard to say. The goal, of course, is to make the 3-mat rank 4, which Chad has corrected me, it is a 3-mat. Number 69 Heraldry Crest. Rank it up into Shatter Stream. Then when your opponent's monster does something, you rank up the Shatter Stream into Dark Matter Demolition. That pops an opponent's card. Then the Dark Matter Demolition is a negate, which is crazy. That's like a really powerful play, right? It's like a really extremely good loop. And Heraldries also have a bunch of already really good cards. Stat Whale and Griffin, of course, are strong. But so are Leo. You know, so are their existing spells. I think if this is the one I think... Oh, this is good. This is a combo that I think makes a lot of sense. Rank up into this. Activate effect. Target opponent. Their name becomes unknown. Opponent by name is no longer at the table. Call judge. No-show. Profit. Good stuff. However, the use case for these cards has been hand looping. What the cards have been used for so far is a hand loop. A hand loop that you can just play in Ryziel. Now, admittedly, there is an argument that that is not particularly good and you should just be playing Ryziel straight up, but it is annoying that that's going to be its application. Something unfair you can do in another already good deck. For those of you asking how it's accomplished, it's exactly what you think. It's just Evil Swarm Ouroboros. Let me see if I can pull that guy out. Once per turn, you can detach a material from this card, then activate one of these effects. Target a card your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. Target a card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that target. Or send a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Hand loop in a hand trap format? Yeah, you only have to do it once or twice. Ugh. Last time I remember this guy was playing him in Stick Chair Herald in like 2017 when Pre-Prep had just got released. All right, next up. The next V-Jump promo is a little bunny with a mask. It supports light monsters. It works with cards from Alliance Insight. That's right, it's honest too. So a lot of people have been like, this is a hand trap because it's 3 stars and it's cute. I think it's going to suck shit. Most V-Jumps have sucked shit recently, and I think that's good. I don't like when V-Jumps are super playable because they're hard to get, and Europe doesn't ever get them. Next up. Okay. New TCG archetype PogChamp. New TCG archetype PogChamp. Mitsurugi. Listen, I hate to be like this. Why are the TCG exclusives Japanese? It's okay. I mean, I don't have anything. There's nothing wrong with it. I just didn't think it would be Japanese. It's crazy. They're like, well, this Japanese card game full of Japanese imagery finally has a chance for an American world premiere. What do you want to make? And they're like, more Japanese shit. We're all weebs. I would say next TCG exclusive, we should get the burger archetype. Oh, we already have that. We should get the the healthcare archetype. All right. So first we have Kusanagi. This is one of the main deck monsters. If this card is normal or special summoned, or if this card is tributed, you can target a Mitsuru. Okay, I'm just gonna have to sit down and look at this. Mitsurugi. There we go. I have now mastered the pronunciation. You can target a Mitsurugi card in your graveyard or banishment, except Mitsurugi no Mikoto, Kusanagi, added to your hand. If another reptile monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can tribute this card instead. And the other one, if this card is normally special summoned, or if this card is tributed, you can add a Mitsurugi spell trap from your deck to your hand. If another reptile monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can tribute this card instead. They are, kind of better Manju of the 10,000 hands because of how this is going to work out. When I say kind of, I mean definitely. And, you know, I do like the little protection. That's cool. Because the protection isn't applied to, like, these cards total, you get 2 of them per. That's nice. That's good. Let's look at the rituals. This is kind of where the meat of it is. The meat of it is in the spell, but the rituals are important to understanding the use case of the spell. You can ritual summon this first card with Mitsurugi Ritual. If this card is special summoned, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Cool for going second, though we are in no short supply of ritual monsters that win the game automatically going second. Shouts out to the Shino Birds. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can activate this effect. Your opponent can discard one card or that effect is negated. Could it just have been a negate? I feel... If this card is tributed, you can add a Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand, except Ame no Murakumo no Mitsurugi. Then you can special summon this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. After that, you can ritual summon this card with Mitsurugi Ritual. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can target a reptile monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Oh, good. You can only activate this effect once per chain. And if this card is tributed, you can add a Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand, except Futsu no Mitama no Mitsurugi. Then you can special summon this card once per turn. Okay, here's where the sauce is. Let's start with the quick play spell. Mitsurugi Prayers. When you activate this card, you contribute a reptile monster in your hand or field. Apply one of these effects. Or if you tributed a monster activation, apply both in sequence. Add a Mitsurugi from your deck to your hand. Take 800. Then you can special one from your hand or graveyard, but it can't attack directly. And Mitsurugi Ritual. This card can be used to ritual summon any reptile ritual monster. Activate one of these effects, but you can only use each once per turn. Ritual summon a reptile ritual monster from your deck by tributing reptile monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster. And ritual summon one reptile ritual monster from your hand by tributing up to 2 from your hand, deck, or field whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster. So what this is either ritual from deck or 2 foolishes. And finally, Mitsurugi Great Purification. When your opponent activates a card effect, tribute a level 5 or higher reptile monster, negate the effect, and if you do destroy the card, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a reptile monster in your graveyard, special summon it, tribute another monster you control. Okay. So, here's the thing. These cards are good. At present, they are not sufficient to facilitate their own archetype. We've, of course, only got 2 main deck monsters, and while they do set up a pretty nice resource loop, the payoff is Ame, which does nothing. It's like a negation that your opponent can get around, and it blows up the field, which is cool, but certainly not great. All of the pieces are in play for this to be a powerful archetype eventually. Mitsurugi Ritual means not only do you get to always have access to everything you want no matter where it's located, you also get to dip into the pool of really powerful reptile monsters that things like Ogdoadic are playing with because you have access to them by way of sending them from the deck to the graveyard. And, you know, you can just load up in your hand and always have access to your rituals through the deck summon. But The lack of playables currently means that this deck is going to have exactly the same weaknesses as every other reptile deck right now, which is there just isn't really anything to do with a bunch of reptiles. This typing has 1 trillion billion extenders. It has, the ability to summon almost an infinite supply of monsters, but its end goal is almost always Alien M Shock Trooper, Cosmic Slicer, Zerall, right? This is something else to be doing, an OTK tool that sort of negates guys that just float infinitely. But you'll notice I didn't ever describe what would be conventionally considered as an end board piece. I don't know. I think the only way this archetype is going to become like capital P playable is if it detaches itself from the shackles of the billion reptile extenders plus Ogdoadic. And the only way that's going to happen is if, folks, say it with me, this promising first wave archetype receives a powerful second wave of support. As always, a second wave that includes even remotely relevant cards would make this deck really cool and strong. We'll see if it's more Mimighoul or more Ashened. Next up, new Sidras. Okay, we have 2 new Sidras. First up, Cyber Jormungandr. Fuck you. There's only 1 Jormungandr. Okay, whatever. I'm not mad about it. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special by a card effect. You can use the first and second effects once per turn. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, then take a Cyber Dragon from your deck. Either special summon it or equip it to this card, and you can't special summon for the rest of the turn, except machine monsters. Dude, what did Cyber Dragons do? To constantly have this summoning condition on them. It was a good summoning condition in 2006. Now Cyber Dragon is a deck with 19 monsters that all have this summoning condition. You got to be able to summon one of them. 2, you can return a Cyber Dragon you control to hand out a polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. This card's fine. This card is hardly the difference maker when it comes to Cyber Dragon. And Cyberdark Worm. As stupid as I sound, this is the one I'm more excited about. I do like Cyberdark more than Cyber Dragon. I just think it's a fun, cool archetype. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per duel. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard. All right, already going well. If this card is in your hand or graveyard and you have another machine cyber monster on your field or in the graveyard, you can you can send a Cyber Dragon monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, special summon this card, then add a Cyber Spell Trap from your graveyard to your hand. This is like a really convoluted sort of circular. Yeah, chat's saying almost circular. It doesn't exactly do what you want. It's MathMech Oval. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why they keep dribbling out this support for Cyber Dragon that doesn't change anything. Cyber Dragon, you wouldn't believe it, is actually not super far off in terms of the necessary power level to compete in any given format, but they gotta give it something to do that isn't this. If you gotta give it something to do that isn't this. This card that requires setup to do circular. Yeah, no. Next up. Okay. This is one that's worth getting excited about. Live Twin support. So first up, we have Live Twin Leela Suite, which I have already seen 1 trillion fan arts, several of them pornographic about. This is the Valentine's Day Leela. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your Live Twin card or effect, you can discard this card, negate that opponent's effect. Go on. If this card is in your graveyard and you control a Kiss-a-Kill monster, you can special summon this card, but you cannot special summon from the extra deck while you control this monster summoned this way, except Fiend monsters. A lot going on here. So first and foremost, regardless of what Rebecca's saying, I actually really like this first effect. One of the huge choke points for this dog-ass strategy is like normal summoning a Leela and then just getting it impermed. And you're like, oh shit, well, I have no extender, so I lose. It's kind of cool that they got like 3 copies of Crossout. However, there's a card that was just released that already solves that problem, and we'll talk about in a moment. And finally, I like this little effect at the end. The lock it applies is really funny. It's like, don't worry, you're not Fiend locked. You just have to make one of the 2 extra deck guys first. This card's sweet. I mean, in case you're unfamiliar, the Live Twin deck really is kind of hurting for additional Leelas and Kiss-a-Kills that are sort of extenders or have a kind of utility about them. Okay. Here's the one that people are really, really creaming their jeans over. Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill Deal. So this is Kiss-a-Kill is making some sort of plan behind the back of everybody else. I don't like what she's up to. You can only link summon Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill Deal once per turn. You can send 1 Leela monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Apply this effect for the rest of the turn. Each time your opponent activates a card or effect in response to the activation of your Kiss-a-Kill or Leela's monster effect, draw a card. So this is really an interesting sort of effect. Like, from a design perspective, this is a really interesting thing to be doing. I'll just roll through most of what people are thinking about when it comes to this card. First off, you can send a Leela monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Means you can send Live Twin Leela Suite, which can then be summoned from the graveyard to immediately make the link to. Which means that if your Kiss-a-Kill gets impermed, even if you don't have their on-theme crossout designator, you are getting to full combo because you'll have both. That's very nice. Secondly, this effect is really interesting. It means that your opponent is kind of cut off from like Ash or Imperm for the rest of the turn unless they want to max see you to a degree. But it also means that if you're going second, you can contest individual pieces of negation by drawing a card. And now that the deck has just sort of more extenders, that can translate into the board presence that you're lacking because of the negate. It forces an opponent to really think very difficultly about how they want to interact with you and when, which I think is good. I think this is a type of interaction and gameplay that we do want to facilitate. Now let's talk about the most important part of this card. This is a Light Fiend. So, as you may have guessed, as a Light Fiend Link 1, first off, Magical Musketeer Caspar on watch. On Fraud Watch, on, you know, a different kind of watch I don't feel comfortable saying in a video I intend to monetize. The concept is you can go Kiss-a-Kill, send Leela, Leela summon, and then, you know what's actually really interesting? Leela does not lock you into Live Twin monsters. It locks you into Fiend monsters. So Deal can then turn into Requiem, can turn into Lacrima, can send the Fiendsmith. Those two can make the link to the sequence. You can make Desiree. You can go Agnum Day. And you can also have the necessary material in rotation to also do the Evil Twin combo. Now, to be realistic, most decks can already do this. This isn't like, oh my god, no, the deck can make the Fiendsmith. Yeah, welcome to the fucking club. I think this means that Evil Twin now has hit the baseline necessary to be considered a relevant deck in the upcoming format. Not necessarily that they're going to be a tier 0 super threat, but these cards have a lot of promise. If they become a tiered super threat, I wouldn't be super surprised. It just depends on where the format ends up in terms of what people are playing, how low to the ground you're allowed to be, how important it is to be repeatable, and shit like that. A lot of the same things that have determined Live Twins playability for the last, 18 months as well. Would rather just play 10 pie cards. Fair. Oh, we do have a combo. All right, I'll click this. Okay, so we're just going Leela here. Okay, normal Leela, special Kiss a Kill Frost, Kiss a Kill Deal, send Sweet, special Sweet, Requiem, summon Lacrima, send Fiendsmith, the Greensmith. Oh, Necroquip, right. That was a synchro for a second. I was like, what the fuck? Wave High King Caesar, Leela for Frost, Kiss a Kill, bring back Leela, Trouble Sunny effect, draw a card, Abo Aku, Trouble Sunny, Abo Aku. These two on the opponent's turn. Send Paradise. Desiree. That's cool. I have nothing to say about it. It's cool. What was any of that? Fiendsmith combo, mostly. Rebecca does have the truth of the matter, which is a million decks do exactly this. Fiendsmith Malice does this, but, plays better into the hand trap lineups that people are going for. Okay. Enough about lesbians. Bring on the homos. Bring on the men. Eldlich is back, and he's bigger than ever. Okay, so first up we have this card. Angel Kaido of the Golden Land. This actually translates to Aura Farmer of the Golden Land. This is a level 10 Dark Zombie Fusion effect monster. Materials, Eldlich the Golden Lord plus 1 fit. We see the fit. Must be fusion summoned or special summoned by tributing a light zombie monster while you have Eldlich the Golden Lord in your field or graveyard and once per turn. Okay, so that seems trivially easy. That's like nothing, right? And then if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon an Eldlich from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard. Okay. I guess I'll just say it. This card does nothing. So I think what you are supposed to do with this card is tribute one of the Golden Land spell traps. Can you do that, right? And then summon him in an extra monster zone, and then make... It doesn't lock you, right? So you then make Gravity Controller, and then the effect summons the Mad Lord? Is that important? Was the difference between being good or bad if the Mad Golden Lord was on your field? I feel like it wasn't. The Mad Lord is really not great. I mean, it's cool. It's nice that they, if nothing else, it's material, right? It like helps you climb or something. Now let's talk about Eldlixir of the Exalted Golden Land. So first up, banger ass, baller ass name. Eldlixir of the Exalted Golden Land, Eldlixir Trap, Golden Land Trap. Thank you. Okay, we now have most accessible Eldlich Trap in the world. All right. Pay 800, then activate one of these effects. Special summon this card as a normal monster, 1528. Then, if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can bounce a monster. Insane. Really good. Non-targeting, by the way. Really strong. Or... set one of your banished Golden Land or Eldlixir spell traps. Okay, now this card is insane. This card is really fucking good. The other card is also strong, but it's going to live in the extra deck and accomplish nothing. This card is going to be a part of the gameplay loop of the deck. You can now pay 8 Feel Great twice per turn, once off the continuous spell, and now once off the continuous trap. There is no, you can only control one of these, so... you get to get into a really fun situation where one is your searcher and one is just being set back and forth into your field zone to your back row. There's a little bit of weirdness with this card. So you can't summon it in the same chain as its activation, right? Because it has to resolve and then activate a second effect, which means that you're not going to be able to do cute little things like you could do with like CO1 Wakero, CL2 Eldlich or anything, which means that like there are going to be ways to play around this by like threatening Eldlich with removal. That does kind of fuck it up in a really annoying way. No, you can? Oh, am I stupid? Never mind. Fuck me. I'm wrong. You can do everything you could do with the other one. The second weirdness with this card is that it doesn't float. Now, is this a problem? Probably not. You're already floating to high heaven. You know, if the game goes to turn 4, you're already winning. But it is kind of the only downside and otherwise an incredibly powerful card. I like this shit. I hope that Eldlich is playable in some capacity. Being a back row deck in a post-Floodgate Yu-Gi-Oh! World is a little tough. Next up. I guess we're doing this again. So why is this lion so smug? All right, so we have a new Ancient Fairy Dragon. For those of you keeping track at home, this is our third new Ancient Fairy Dragon. Stop printing AFD. We have added additional armor to AFD, which I hope does something. And is that spores? All right, let's scroll down. First up, Regulus the Fairy Beast. Clearly you don't own an air fryer. That's actually a skill issue argument in Yu-Gi-Oh! If this card is normally special summoned, you can add a spell trap that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, you can special summon a level 4 light, beast, plant, or fairy from your hand. And you could banish this card from the graveyard, target a field spell in your graveyard, place it at the bottom of the deck, and draw a card. What the fuck? This is AFD. Next up, we have Spores. If this card is special summoned, you can increase its level by up to the number of monsters you control. If it's in your graveyard and you control AFD or a light, beast, plant, or fairy, you can special summon this card. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except synchro monsters. This is quite strong. This is quite strong. Currybomb the Fairy Spirit. If you control AFD or a light, beast, plant, or fairy monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's treated as a tuner. If another monster you control is Ancient Fairy Dragon or mentions it would be destroyed by a card effect, you could return this card to the hand instead. Okay, they can't all be winners. And Ancient Fairy Life Dragon. Okay. If this card is synchro summoned, you can draw a card. Or, if the World of Spirits is on the field, add a light, beast, plant, fairy, or earth, or light, beast, plant, fairy monster, or one Eternal Sunshine from your deck to your hand instead. Don't know what that is. Your AFDs and monsters that mention it become super heavy samurais. Why? All right, whatever. I don't care. And finally, the World of Spirits. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can only activate the second or third effect if you control a level 7 or higher Light Dragon Synchro monster. So this is what you are getting from AFD. Like you pop something and you get this. Okay. When this card resolves, you can add a monster that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to your hand. Funny. Each time a monster is special summoned in attack, change it to defense. Funny. Once per turn during the end phase, destroy all the turn player's attack position monsters. It's stumbling. That's unbelievable. And finally, Eternal Sunshine. Monsters you control gain 500 defense for each AFD and monster that mentions it you control. Once per chain, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Its current attack and defense become halved. Its effects are negated. That you can use that effect a number of times per turn up to the number of cards you control that are Ancient Fairy Dragon or monsters that mention it. It's for that dual tainer. It's literally for that dual tainer. Okay. Trapaloosa. That is pretty funny. So what are we accomplishing with this cards? Well, it seems pretty clear, right? What we're meant to be doing is make AFD through one of the myriad of ways you can do that. And then AFD pop the field spell, search the World of Spirits, activate World of Spirits, grab Spore the Fairy Cell, right? Or it's actually probably better to grab Currybon the Fairy Spirit. You use the 1-star Currybon the Fairy Spirit and the AFD to rank up into Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, which adds you a light beast, plant, or fairy monster. And from there, what do? I don't know. I want you to look at Ancient Fairy Life, read it again, then read the second effect of Spore. If this card is in your graveyard and you control you can special summon this card and you are locked from the extra for the rest of the turn, except for Synchros. And then this says, I don't know, I don't get it. If you link off Spore for Life Dragon, you can't resummon it. This card is an AFD? Oh. Okay. That's annoying. But, you know, not that bad. AFD, pop the field spell, grab the World of Spirits, search Spore, special Spore with the effect of AFD, link them off or for Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, grab Eternal Sunshine, Trapaloosa. Like, that's not so bad. And if you get extras, you know, your Trapaloosa becomes better. If you have a Light Beast, Plant, or Fairy monster on your side of the field, like you start the turn with a Regulus, so it just remains on the field, you can summon back the Spore, use it to make like another 7 or an 8 or something. I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential for these cards, despite the fact that there's that one annoying Nombo. Next up. Dragon Master Lord, the final QCR-only anniversary monster. If this exists, fucking year 4. This exists summon card cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Your opponent cannot target it with card effects. If this card attacks a defense position monster while you have 25 or more cards in your graveyard, inflict double piercing battle damage. And then once per turn, if your opponent has 25 or more cards in their graveyard, detach a material from this card, special monster from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard. Sure. Cool, by the way. Centurion could make this. Not that it matters. Bad. It's good that it's bad. I like that the cards that they're putting in QCR only are bad. Magia, I think, was a pretty big misstep. Next up. Argostars. We're still doing these. So if you're unfamiliar with Argostars, they're like, what if World War II ships were an archetype? They're just trying to make everything cute anime girls these days. Even, you know, Imperial Japan. No airplane reference this time. Okay, so we have Fierce Partha. You can only use the first and third effects of this card's name once per turn. First quick effect, you can reveal this card in your hand, return a face-up Argostars continuous trap you control to the hand, and if you do, special summon this card. You can banish this card to set a continuous trap from your hand. It cannot be activated this turn, and an attack modulation effect. Argostars Giant Hunting. You can only use the first and the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Add an Argostars monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you control a continuous trap in the monster zone, a continuous trap with the fact that special summons itself with the monster in the spell and trap zone, you can normal summon a warrior monster. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 2 cards on the field, including an Argostars continuous trap, return them to the hand. Okay, so we finally have something to do with the archetype. But now we know what? 4 total members of the archetype? You know, I really have a tough time passing any judgment on these because there's clearly going to be more of them. But at present, no, I'm not super excited. That's really all I have to say. Unfortunately, I can't. Sorry about the ad rev, but I can't wax poetic about that. And then finally, one more thing that I think we need to talk about. Oh no, did I close it? I did. No. Oh. Okay, that's actually going to be it then. Oh, I refound it on Google. Here it is. Last thing. New Sanrio merch. Let's go. It's adorable. Folks, we love the Cinema Roll Blue Eyes. Who is your favorite of these Sanrio friends? Chat. Kuromi Slifer. Pom Pom Purin. Pretty honestly, the fit goes hard. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really like any of them. Fuck you, die. I went to go visit my brother, a couple of months ago, and we hung out a little bit. And he was like, "Oh, before you see my apartment, I should let you know." My girlfriend and I have gotten really into like collecting stupid little trinkets, and they live in an area where there's just so many of those stupid fucking little Korean shops where they sell like little trinkets in like gacha boxes, and their house had a bunch of shelves with the little like the little guys, the little collectibles everywhere. And it was a bunch of different kinds of collectibles, and it was honestly, I will say, it was pretty cute. It was very cute. And so I was talking to him, and I was like, all right, I got to ask you, because we keep seeing all this Sanrio stuff. Have you guys gotten into like the Sanrio Friends craze stuff? And he was like, we are so fucking into Sanrio Friends stuff. It's like, yes, we have. It was like, what's the one that's like the little naked baby? Do you guys know what the little naked baby is? He's like doing this. What's the little naked baby? One of you's got to know this. No, it's not like that. Sunny Angel? I think that's literally it. Let me look it up. Yep, Sunny Angel. Yep. So we were in one of those stores, and they were like, listen. There was a big sign that was like, we are out of Sunny Angels. Subscribe to our newsletter, and we will send you a link when we will get them restocked. And so I talked to the guy behind the desk. I was like, what the fuck's up with that? He was like, when these come in, they go out within an hour. Like, they are just gone almost immediately. It was like we can't keep them in stock. It's and it has gotten ugly. I was like, I'm sorry to hear that, man, but I mean, good on you, I guess. They're like, please do not ask about Sunny Angels. People love trinkets. The people love trinkets. That's the thing about Funko Pop. Like, I find Funko Pops very ugly, but they tapped into a very a deep primal desire to own a lot of trinkets that look similar.